They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Hey guys, it's that time of year again, and as such, I'm bringing you a Halloween special J Reviews. Now, what game am I reviewing, you may ask? Well, I thought I'd take a look at an obscure little title, and not a lot of people have really looked at it, so I thought, hey, I'd give it a shot. It's a little game called Friday the 13th. Yeah. What? Oh. You wanted me to review something else, didn't you? Okay. So I was gonna review Splatterhouse 2, but the thing is, I lost the game that I was playing it on. You remember I had the remake, and I don't know where it went. I don't know. Besides, I don't even have a Sega Genesis, so it's not like I could just get the actual game.
Well, why don't you just emulate it?
I would, but I can't do the whole keyboard thing. I probably wouldn't even be able to beat the first level. Oh, USB controller adapter. Alright, you win. I'll do Splatterhouse 2. Alright, let's get it over with. Splatterhouse 2. While the first game originally came out in arcades and was ported to many different consoles afterwards, the sequel was only ever originally released for the Sega Genesis, or the Megadrive, depending on where you're coming from. But enough history, let's get into the game itself. Why am I still wearing this? The game takes place 3 months after the first one, with Rick having nightmares of his lost girlfriend and the demonic mask. The mask apparently tells Rick that she doesn't have to die and that he can return to the mansion to save her, with its help of course. It tells this to Rick while the obligatory Scary Echoes ripoff plays in the background. This is a bit hard to believe considering what happened to the mansion and his girlfriend in the last game. The gameplay is nearly identical to the first one. You've got your kicks, punches, weapons, and the slide, which I still can't do. The first stage is very simple and is just to introduce you to the gameplay, with red monsters that die in one hit, death pits, and leeches. The visuals look pretty comparable with the first game, with nice gruesome animation, but the impact sounds do seem to be lacking a little. Still, it plays fine, and that's what's most important. The boss of the first level is this big fat monster thing that mostly attacks you by vomiting acid. He's easier than he looks though, and he has a pretty simple pattern, so you should be able to beat him with no problems. On to stage 2, and I should mention, the mask seems a bit more skull-like in this game instead of looking like a hockey mask, which is creepy. Stage 2 ramps up the difficulty a little, with an elevator stage where you need to deal with these falling green guys. Luckily, they die in one hit. Right after though, you're introduced to these purple guys that are a little tougher to kill, and they actually have a longer reach than you, which can be a pain in the ass. You'll have to use your air attack and timing to your advantage. There's also a bone you can find which gives you a longer reach, but watch out for the spike floors as well. The boss of this stage is a big purple face that drops ghosts from the ceiling and shoots a shoop-da-whoop laser out of his mouth. Anybody get that joke? No? Alright. The boss pattern is a little more difficult here, but you just have to pay attention to what directions the ghosts are coming, when he fires the laser, and to attack his eyeballs as soon as you get the chance. He should go down in a few tries. The third stage takes place on what Rick describes as a foul-smelling river. You've got the purple guys again, which are actually easier here for some reason, vicious fish, and of course the water that you don't want to fall into. This part can be a pain the first time through, but you just have to be cautious and remember to use your air attack if a fish jumps your way. But can you tell me why the purple monsters sound like Michael Jackson when they fall into the water? You know, Michael Jackson actually had a game for the Sega Genesis, so it actually makes me wonder if they used the same sound clip or something. The boss of this level is a hanged fetus. Oh no, I'm sorry, 4 hanged fetuses. And haunted lawn equipment. Yeah, there isn't actually too much to say here in terms of strategy. The chainsaw and hedge clippers are easy enough to kill, and the fetuses always come down in the same 4 areas, so they aren't that hard to dodge. Just make sure to avoid their acid vomit and attack them when there's an opening. At the end when they all die, there's this big ball of flesh that bursts out of the wall. I'm actually not sure if you're supposed to hit it or not because it never actually hurts me, but I don't want to risk it. On stage 4, Rick finally spots the mansion on an island. First you have to run across a dock to reach it, while this giant sea monster chases you and enemies attack from the front. All you have to do is keep a steady pace. Punches slow you down, so use air attacks when you're falling behind. And go ahead and start punching if you feel you're getting too close to the right and need more time to react to enemies. Once you reach the island, you have to deal with zombies that rise from the ground and these spirits that will curse you. And by curse you, I mean they'll change your controls around so right is left and vice versa. This isn't too bad, but it can make you change direction in midair, and you do not want to fall into these holes. You won't die, but they force you to go through this extra annoying dungeon area, and you'll be stuck doing it too until you run out of lives. The boss of this area is a long-tongued mutant that likes to slide. In fact, I think he's making fun of me because I can't. He's really simple. He likes to jump at you to fake you out, but if you stay at just the right distance and time it right, you can run up and punch him as he does it. But that was just his first form. After that, you gotta fight this spider that likes to run and jump all over the place. All I can say here is to be careful about attacking when he stops, and to remember to jump over him after he lands, because he'll zip right across the stage. This is the first reasonably difficult boss of the game, and it actually took me a little while to get down, but it's doable. In stage 5, you finally get to enter the mansion. It's got your basic enemies, purple guys, severed hands, deer heads vomiting acid. Why does everybody vomit acid in this game? You also get to use a shotgun, which is pretty cool. Look at what happens when you shoot an enemy while it's jumping. That's awesome. Next you're in a library with a bunch of severed hands, but the real enemy here is the foreground. Like, seriously, I gotta be able to see, man, come on. After that you're in a room full of tubes and... okay, I see what you're doing here. I'm gonna be walking along and one of those monsters are gonna break out and attack me. I'm not falling for that. Let's see... okay. See, this one's got bubbles coming out. Obvious. Oh, okay, never mind. It's random then. What the hell was that? Well, you just gotta be careful and pay attention to the tubes while you're walking, I guess. Do that and you should... Oh wow, really? You had me so focused on the tubes I didn't even notice the holes in the floor. And now I'm in the dungeon. Great. Well, if you're patient enough to make it past this part, you get to the boss room where a mad zombie scientist throws potions at you that either explode or turn into muck monsters that won't die. Just be careful as you make your way across. Eventually you'll catch up to the boss and he dies in one hit, which is actually kind of funny. Stage 6 leads you to this hole in the ground, which I can only assume is a gateway to hell or something. The spirit of Rick's girlfriend Jennifer is dragged down and you immediately fight a boss. No level or anything. Nice. First you fight a bunch of hands, which is easy enough, and then a bunch of heads that take slightly more complicated attack patterns. Just stay on your toes and watch where they go and you should be okay after a couple tries. Punch the last one and that's it. Okay, I don't know what that is. Anyway, you jump into the hole and you're off to stage 7. Here it is, the final level of the game. This first part is all about memorization. The little ghosts that you fought earlier come down and attack in patterns, and it's up to you to remember those patterns and attack or avoid them accordingly. This will most certainly take you several tries, so be patient and just keep going at it until you get good at it. Or at least good enough to survive. After that you finally get to the boss, which is a little disappointing at first. It's just this big crystal that shoots orbs at you and sometimes nowhere near you. And then it sometimes shoots lightning out of the ground that someone with the reflexes of a sloth could avoid. As long as you keep a good distance and get rid of the orbs that surround the crystal, it's easily open for attacks. After that it seems you've saved Jennifer, but there's one more form that you have to worry about. The combined spirit of every member of the Blue Man group. Or maybe it's just a big blue ghost. At first I wasn't sure what to do and it made this part very difficult, but you don't need to worry about attacking it at all. You just need to stay on the right and attack the orbs and avoid the lightning bolts as they come towards you. After a while he'll just give up and you're home free. But wait, that wasn't the final level? Nope. I thought this game would have 7 stages just like the first, but there's actually one more. Damn. You've saved your girl, but now you gotta get out alive. Remember how I said you really had to memorize that part with the ghosts to beat it? Well, imagine that, except this time you're in an elevator with falling debris that gives you no time at all to avoid it if you don't know where it's coming from. On top of that, you've got zombies coming from either side. While the ghost part gave you some leeway, this one leaves you very little room for error. I really can't give any advice here except memorize it. After that, you're on a boat speeding away from the island, and who is it but your old friend the sea monster? He shoots these spears at you from different heights that you must duck or jump over to avoid. To damage him, however, you have to punch high-flying ones out of the air, and then throw it back into its open eye at just the right height. It's about as difficult as it sounds. Oh yeah, you're not hearing things by the way, he also makes a Michael Jackson sound when you hit him. Weird. Once you've beaten it and gotten off the island, you're on to the final boss, for real. It's that weird fleshy clump thing from earlier. Its demon head projectiles look intimidating, but his first form is fairly easy. Get just close enough and duck. Wait until he comes out and then hit him. Run to the other side and repeat. After he does this for a while, he'll change up his pattern and start shooting all over the place. This one took me a while, as no part of the screen looks safe, and even if you survive, he always ends up jumping around afterwards. The trick is to stay just slightly off to one side, facing away from the middle, punch the first demon head as it comes down, then quickly turn around, punch the second one, before jumping over the one attacking from the floor and attacking the boss simultaneously. Yes, this is as difficult as it sounds, but trust me, it works once you've figured it out. After this, unfortunately he has a third form, that of a bat that likes to fly wildly all over the place. If you made it this far, chances are you're scared of getting killed and start to fight very cautiously. While this sounds like a good plan, it actually isn't, because if you go too long without hitting him, he'll actually turn back into the flesh ball and make you fight the second form all over again. I really don't know what to say here except that you just need to keep at it. Don't die, but don't let up. Eventually you should get him. And yup, that's really it. You've beaten Splatterhouse 2. So what happens now? The mansion sinks into the lake, and the mask leaves Rick once and for all so he can finally be with Jennifer. Well, that was it. Splatterhouse 2. It's just as gruesome and nearly as challenging as the first one. When it comes to graphics and game design, I think it lives up to the original pretty well, although the sound effects aren't quite as up to par. You know, after seeing the ominous and slightly depressing ending of the first game, I was kind of turned off on the idea of trying to review the sequel. But this one actually ended on a pretty positive note. You saved your girlfriend, the mansion is gone, and the mask has finally stopped haunting Rick. I hope.